Dear teachers, how are you?
The coronavirus pandemic has spread throughout the world. Though schools have been temporarily closed down, education still continues. Teachers may be at risk for exposure to coronavirus. With that, we gathered their thoughts on their teaching experience in this pandemic.
So, working at school, actually, in our area, very challenging siya. Why? Kasi we had to go to a school wherein just meters away from our building would be the quarantine facility of our city. That's why we are extra careful when it comes to roaming around the school. We have to really wear our masks and face shields most of the time. There was also a time na naranasan naming ma-home quarantine. Naranasan naming maging first contact ng nag-positive na fellow teacher namin. So, it was challenging. We're already risking our health, and most of the teachers as well are having a hard time dealing with such challenges or with that challenge.
Being at risk wasn't the only problems for our teachers. With an occurrence this sudden, it is undeniable that we have failed to gear ourselves for the worst case scenario.
So we really have to devise ways on how can we still acquire additional printers for the easier printing of the modules. Okay? In the distribution of modules, it has been also a struggle in our part because some of our parents, they do not get their modules on time. And so, if that is the case, they cannot submit it on time. Okay? And since there are some parents naman na online, so we already shifted to a modular digital platform. However, our heart goes to those parents and learners who do not have internet access in their houses because they are already late in accessing their modules.
During the pandemic, no one is truly safe. As educators are among those in the front lines, they face a greater risk. Despite that, they have continued on with their duties and made sure that they continue being the pillars that their students could rely on.
Biggest concerns regarding my safety is how to deliver the modules to the remote areas of my community. I have to sanitize all the modules that I retrieve and send to my pupils.
Well, teachers are also considered as frontliners, and so dealing with coworkers, parents, and others is unavoidable. The risk to acquire the COVID-19 virus is always there. That I can really say as one of my biggest concerns. Especially so, I have 3 kids, and I always wanted to protect them from the virus.
Teachers were not prepared for this sudden shift to online education. They are trying their best to come in terms with reality and adapt to the changes. Most are working harder than they ever had before to teach the same curriculum in less time with a different format to their students. This pandemic, almost every pre-hand experience becomes void, and everyone gets exposed to a new environment they would need to adjust to from scratch. And with a new environment comes with new struggles.
The struggles that we are facing in online class or online teaching are the unstable internet connection. Most pupils have no Android phones or gadgets to use.
Fact that our Department of Education could not provide us an internet allowance that we have to sacrifice our own money.
Making PowerPoint presentation because I'm not computer literate. And through the help of my colleagues, I was able to do and accomplish even it takes me hours to finish one. Another, I was not able to meet all my learners because they do not have internet connection at home.
Making sure that my students are always present during class sessions, preventing them from cheating in different sit works, distributing modules from house to house, creating a casual environment for the students to learn properly during an online meeting, and time management for both parties.
All educators right now are in an unpredictable situation. Transitioning into online in such a short period of time is really hard, especially to those teachers who are not technically knowledgeable.
Preparation of learning materials is the hardest part of online teaching because the government did not provide us enough materials like printer, laptop, and internet connection. So teachers did their part just to cope up to the needs of the pupils.
Both teachers and students are struggling during the new normal, but educators are always ready to take an extra mile just to teach their students. Though there will always be uncertainties in their plans and efforts, they do their best to teach their students in any way.
It is really challenging. I do a lot of adjustment. I just go on my online classes, but still for my pupils, I do some interventions like sending video lessons to our group chat.
I have to be considerate and understand the situation of my pupils and advise them not to give up and help themselves in answering the modules and to combat this pandemic.
Stress isn't new to teachers, but what they're experiencing now makes their typical stress seem like a huge crowd. Driven by a pandemic to the front lines of an unprecedented rush to distance learning, teachers are scrambling to manage a load of new challenges. Teachers are grappling with unfamiliar technologies, an armful of emails and reports, and so is the need of their loved ones. And they are exhausted.
For me, for at least 4 months lang akong nagstay as a teacher doon. Naramdaman ko yung pagod. Yung everyday na pagod, yung you have to do these papers, iba pa yung modules, iba pa yung magde-deliver ka ng mga learning kits. Tapos each department kasi, kapag naibigay na yung learning kits sa mga teachers sa bawat department, kami pa ang magde-deliver nun sa bawat barangay. And it's really challenging, and like what I said, it's really, really risky. You have to deal with a lot of people, different people. Ayun. There are also students who would feel, Ma'am, hindi ko na po ata kaya. May mga parents na magsasabi nun, Ma'am, parang gusto ko na yung anak ko. Ayun. That's why we would always tell those parents na, Ma'am, tsagaan lang po natin. Meron po, kakayanin po niya yan, tutulungan po namin sila. So, ayun, we have to work both ways. Ayan. Kaya, emotionally, talaga, pag na-drain ka na physically, mafe-feel mo yung emotional drain, yung mental drain, pakiramdam mo, is this going to be like this for a very long time? So, that's the challenging part.
But despite the exhaustion, they chose to continue.
You have to be strong. Wala kang ibang choice, kundi kailangan mong maging strong. You have to be mentally, physically, and emotionally strong. Although there are times, we must admit, that there are times that even teachers would also have breakdowns. Because ako, isa pa ako sa mga bata and I am not married. That's why nakikita ko yung mga married teachers, mga mothers. I really admire them. Because somehow they already coped up na kaya nilang gawin yung mga bagay na yun. With the fact that it's really challenging to be a teacher, a mother, a daughter, a son. a sibling, a brother, a sister, ayun. During this time of pandemic, mas maraming responsibilities, mas maraming gastusin. So, ayun, to cope up is to at least adapt. Dun sa part na yon, naka-adapt ako. Na-adapt ko yung bagay na kailangan mong gawin eh. So, whether you like it or not, whether it drains you or not, you have to adapt. And you have to do those things. Kasi, responsibility mo yun. And, ang pinaka-challenge doon, walang ibang gagawa nun kundi ikaw. Walang ibang magpaparamdam sa students na hindi sila nag-iisa kundi ikaw as a teacher.
They chose to continue and not give up.
I think there are times that it was really challenging since I'm also a newly hired teacher or newly assigned teacher in those times. It was really shocking na I have to deal with new things na dun sa mga pinag-aralan ko nung college, hindi ko siya totally na-apply. Parang it's a new world that you have to discover. And pakiramdam ko nun, should I just give up? Should I just let things go? But in the end, I still managed it because I had good students. I had a strong mentors. Ayun, ang gagaling kasi ng mga mentors ko, sinasabi nila, kayanin mo yan. And then, ayun, they reminded me of why I took this profession. That's why, somehow, yung tanong na, should I give up? Is na-overcome ko, nalagpasan ko. Ang lagi ko na lang tanong, why give up? Diba? Why give up if you can manage to do it? Nakayanan mo yung maraming challenges sa buhay mo in the past. So, bakit hindi mo makakayanan ngayon? So, yun. You really have to push yourself and others will also do that for you. In that way, mapapalakas yung loob mo. And kapag nakikita mong nag-e-effort yung students mo, as a teacher, mahihiya ka na sabihin, ayoko na. Kaya, pakiramdam ko, yun yung nagpapalakas sa akin those times.
And after all of their efforts, they deserve our warmest thank yous, our deepest support, and our undying love. Like in every class dismissal, we would like to flood our teachers with gratitude and love for all that they have done for students. This would be all that we could do to repay our teachers. But I hope in this, we understood a very important lesson, that now more than ever, teachers need us the same way we need them. Thank you so much for joining in. Class is dismissed.